Assalamu alaikum, pre-9th class. Today we are going to study about the types of matrices. What are the different types of matrices? First we have row matrix. What is row matrix? When we have only one row in the matrix, then it is called a row matrix. Here the order is 1 by 3 because we have only one row and 3 columns. So this is called the row matrix. What is called column matrix? When we have only one column in matrix, then it is called column matrix. Here we have 3 rows but only one column. So the order of this matrix is 3 by 1 and this is called a column matrix. Square matrix. What is square matrix? When the number of rows is equal to the number of columns, then it is called a square matrix. That is, we have in this matrix we have 2 rows and 2 columns. So this is called a square matrix. Similarly, if we write the matrix of order 3 by 3, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What is the order of this matrix? The order of this matrix is 3 by 3 because we have 3 rows and 3 columns. So it is called it is also called a square matrix because the number of rows is equal to the number of columns. Rectangular matrix. What is rectangular matrix? If we have number of rows is not equal to the number of columns. Here we have 2 rows and 3 columns. Number of rows is not equal to number of columns, so the matrix is called a rectangular matrix. Like this is also a rectangular matrix. A, B, C, D, E, F. Here we have 3 rows but 2 columns, so this is also called a rectangular matrix. Null matrix. What is null matrix? If all the entries of a matrix is equal to 0, like in this matrix all entries are 0, in this matrix all entries are 0, in this matrix all entries are 0. So these all matrices are called null matrix. What is identity and unit matrix? We have two names of identity matrix, that is identity and unit. If we have 1 on the diagonal places, like these are the diagonals in the matrix, if in any matrix these entries are the diagonal entries. If we have 1 on the diagonal entries and all other entries are 0, so its matrix is called an identity or unit matrix. Similarly, this is also an identity and unit matrix because we have diagonals is 1 and all other entries are 0. This is the identity of 2 by 2 and this is identity of 3 by 3. Identity is always a square matrix because in identity matrix order of rows and order of column is same. Now what is scalar matrix? In scalar matrix we have the value other than 1 on the diagonal places. Scalar is difference between scalar and identity is that we have other values other than 1. In identity matrix, we have only 1 in these places, in diagonal places. But in scalar matrix, we have any other value on the diagonal places. But these are same. These 3 values are same in the scalar matrix. Scalar is also a square because in scalar order is rows and columns is same. In diagonal matrix, if we have different values in the diagonal places, in scalar and in identity matrix, we have the same values in diagonal places. In the identity matrix, the diagonal places is 1 and the scalar matrix, we have other than one value on the diagonal places. But in diagonal matrix, these entries are different and all other entries are also 0. This is the main difference between the diagonal and the scalar matrix. Now come to exercise number 1.2. Question number 1. From the following matrices, identify unit matrix, row matrix, column, and null matrices. As you know about all the types of matrices, so you can easily write what are these matrices. In matrix A, you can see all entries are 0, so it is null matrix. In matrix B, we have only one row, so this is row matrix. In matrix C, we have only one column, so it is column matrix. In matrix D, we have one on the diagonal places, so this is unit or identity matrix. E is also null matrix. F is column matrix. Question number 2. Find the following matrices. From the following matrices, identify square matrix, rectangular, row, column, identity, and null. So in part 1, number of rows is not equals to number of columns, so it is called a rectangle matrix. In part 2, we have only one column, so this is column matrix. In part 3, we have the same number of rows and columns, so it is square matrix. Similarly, you can write all other matrices. Question number 3. From the following matrices, identify the scalar and unit matrices. You know the difference between scalar, diagonal, and unit matrix. In matrix A, the diagonal entries are same but other than 1, so it is scalar matrix. In matrix B, the diagonal entries are different, so it is diagonal matrix. In matrix C, diagonal entries are 1, so it is identity matrix. In D, we have diagonal entries, different diagonal entries, so it is also a scalar matrix. Diagonal matrix. In matrix E, we have, when we solve the matrix E, we get 5 minus 3 is 2, 1 plus 1 is 2. So these two entries are same, so we have E matrix is scalar matrix. Now come to question number 4. Find the negative of the matrices A, B, C, D, and E. What is the negative of the matrix? The negative of any matrix is that we multiply the matrix with the minus sign. Here we can see in question number 4, negative of matrix A is minus, we multiply the minus sign with the matrix A, that is minus with this whole matrix, and multiply the minus sign with all the entries of the matrix. Minus 1, when we multiply 0 by minus, we get 0, and minus 1 by minus 1 we get plus 1. This is the negative of matrix A. In matrix D, when we find the negative of matrix D, we multiply the minus sign with all these entries, then you get 3, 4, minus 2 and minus 5. Basically you change all the signs, reverse the signs of the matrix, that is 3 and 4 are negative and 2 and 5 are positive. Then in negative, in the matrix we get both are negative or positives and positives are negative. Similarly, you can easily done all other parts of question number 4.